Okay, that leads us to the last two. The last two are just a little more complicated, but when they get a little more complicated, we're just going to rewrite them first. So if you noticed, we like to have x to the fifth, variable exponent, or 3x squared, number in front, variable exponent. So some of these are not written that way for one of them, so we're going to rewrite first. Notice when I rewrite, I'm not taking the derivative, so I just put f of x. I have a coefficient in front, number in front, x to the fifth, that one's ready to go. Number in front, x to the 0.2, even though it's a fraction, it's ready to go. But the third one, I have x squared in the denominator, so I'm going to rewrite that. I have the negative 4 in front, x squared, when I move it up, will become x to the negative 2 plus 5. So again, I rewrote it first. Now I'm going to take the derivative. Rewrite first, then take the derivative. So now, nice and slowly, we follow our steps. 5 times a half. Now if you need to use a calculator, you can, but 5 times a half would be 5 over 2. X, subtract 1, we get 4. Always the same process. Minus 2 times 0.2, again you can use your calculator, it's 0.4. Subtract 1, be careful, 0.2 minus 1 would be negative 0.8. Same process, yes we have a negative, yes it's a decimal, but it's the same process. Negative 2 times negative 4 would be positive 8. Subtract 1, be careful, it's negative 3. And the derivative of 5 is 0. So that would be the derivative part. We're going to clean it up in a second, but that would be the derivative part. Now, to simplify this for a final answer, I'd have 5 over 2 x to the 4 minus 0.4, but notice I have a negative exponent. To make it positive, we move it to the denominator, plus, leave the 8, we have a negative 3 to make it positive, goes to the denominator, and then we can leave off the 0. So our final answer would be this. Which brings us to our last one. And for the last one, same idea as this one. We're going to rewrite it first, take the derivative, then simplify. So, here, a little scary, square roots, but we're going to rewrite it first. So again, not taking the derivative. Derivative has the little prime symbol. This is just a rewrite. Square root is x to the 1/2, so that would be 3x to the 1/2. This one would be 4 over x to the 1/2. 4 over x to the 1/2, because square root of x is x to the 1/2. But when I move it up, we leave the minus 4 there, but the x to the 1/2 when I move it up will be x to the negative 1/2. X to the negative 1/2. So it started as x to the 1/2 in the denominator. When I move it up, it becomes a negative 1/2. And the last one has a fraction in front, decimal. Okay, so make sure we rewrite it correctly. Notice I have a number in front, coefficient, variable exponent. They're all written the same way. Now, even though there's fractions and negatives and decimals, it's all done the same way. So a half times 3, 3 over 2. Subtract 1, be careful, that's negative a half. Negative a half times negative 4 would be positive 2. Subtract 1, you actually get negative 3 over 2, or negative 1.5, or negative 1.5, all the same. The last one, we're going to take 2/3 times 0.4. So if I go 2/3, put in parentheses, times 0.4, 2/3 times 0.4, Then I press math, number 1 for fraction. It will convert it to a fraction for me. We get 4 over 15. So 2/3 times 0.4, 4 over 15. X, subtract 1. Use your calculator if you need to. You get negative 0.6. And the last step will be to simplify. All those negative exponents, I'm going to make them positive by moving them. Just the exponents. So we have 3 over 2. To make that negative 1/2 positive, I'm going to move it to the denominator. Plus 2. To make that x to the negative 3 over 2 positive, I move it to the denominator. And we prefer to deal with positive exponents than negative exponents. And we put minus 4 over 15 x to the 0.6. That would be your final answer. And that was a tough one. But we rewrote it, took the derivative, and then simplified. Now you're going to work on the practice examples.